The climate crisis is real, and the world is in need of a solution. At present, humanity is contributing an additional 9 gigatons of carbon as atmospheric CO2, on top of natural processes, into the atmosphere annually. Whilst the planet can deal with 2 of those, we are left with an excess of 7 gigatons per year building up in the atmosphere. This man-made buildup has increased the atmospheric concentration of CO2 from pre-industrial levels of 280 parts per million to a high approaching 420 parts per million today, a number that is rising rapidly. Why is this important? To better understand this and how we might resolve matters, we need to look at the carbon cycle. Simply, the carbon cycle is made up of 2 halves. On the right are the processes that put CO2 into the atmosphere, and on the left is the process that takes CO2 out of the atmosphere. Without human contributions, the carbon cycle processes around 210 gigatons of carbon per year. Humans have, however, supercharged the right half of the cycle, adding an additional 9 gigatons of carbon annually to be processed. However, nature is responding and is now processing more than 2 gigatons extra of carbon per year. This leaves 7 gigatons of excess as an imbalance, and nature needs our help. Ecopia will assist nature by stimulating photosynthesis to restore the balance, as well as dealing with the legacy atmospheric CO2, working to resolve the climate crisis. So how does Ecopia work? It turns out that oceanic productivity is far more efficient than that of land-based systems. Despite containing, at any one instant, only 3% of the entire planetary plant biomass, the ocean is able to process about the same amount of carbon year on year. This is due to the very rapid turnover of plant biomass that occurs in the ocean. Compared to the much larger increase in land plant biomass required, the small 10% increase in plant biomass in the ocean would allow nature to handle the excess 7 gigatons of carbon emissions and start to deal with the legacy atmospheric CO2 as well. The ocean has seemingly endless space, water and nutrients, enough to grow the additional plant biomass. However, light only penetrates to a few tens of meters, and so most of the ocean is in darkness. The ocean has vast minimally productive surface areas that are expanding year on year. Analogous to the deserts found on land, they are called oligotrophic gyres. By taking light down below these minimally productive surface layers, we can stimulate abundant productivity where light is lacking and greatly increase the lock-away effect. The majority of organic carbon produced here will be exported to the deep sea and seafloor sediments for potentially tens of thousands of years and longer. By stimulating productivity in these oligotrophic gyres, we can create a truly additive solution. Introducing Ecopia, a new nature-based solution designed to stimulate natural organic production deep in the ocean. The solution consists of a series of man-made constructs, or ecopins, that work together to create an Earth climostat. Ecopia will allow humanity to control and balance the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere. Light trees will pipe light focused through lenses at the surface, down fiber optic cables, and diffuse it at the required depth, stimulating growth. Contained within ecopins, these light trees form huge floating forests, stimulating biomass growth below the vast barren deserts of the ocean. Each complete ecopin is approximately 50 kilometers across and is constructed using existing modern carbon-negative materials. With the Ecopia system comprising up to 100 of these ecopins scattered across the 5 main oligotrophic gyres of the world. Whilst sounding large in scale, Ecopia is vanishingly small in comparison to these ocean gyres. Ecopia provides a global climostat designed to regulate the atmospheric CO2 level, even if the world's nations can only freeze their CO2 emissions at their projected 2030 levels. If we can do better, Ecopia can be smaller. It will allow all the nations of the world to continue economic development, not least those developing nations who would be hardest hit by drastic curbs in CO2 emissions. If we do nothing, these developing nations will be disproportionately impacted by the climate crisis that they did not create. If we start now, we can mitigate impacts of the climate crisis by 2070. The climate crisis is real, and we have a solution. Let the oceans save the world. Ecopia, a global solution for a global problem.